Welcome back to Big Head the Nerd and the start of our brand new How to Play Football Manager series. Something we've brought on the channel for previous FMs and we'll be reviving for FM20. So the new game is out. Hopefully you've bought it. If not, and you're wanting to play it and you think, how the bloody hell does this game work? Well, you're in the right place, my friends. So we'll be going through a few videos. This is the first one, which will be all about setting up your Football Manager game. So once you are into the screen, you will be greeted with a screen, probably a blank screen. We already have a save going, the Arsenal save. If you're interested in Let's Plays, make sure you hit that subscribe button and go and check out the Arsenal and Real Madrid Let's Plays we have on the channel. But you have a few options here down on the right-hand side. To start your solo game, click Career. Depending on the type of game you set up, will depend on whether you use the sort of simple game setup screen that they have for you. A lot of us old hands prefer the advanced setup, but if you're going in and you're playing with a big club to learn the game, if you are a new player, I would recommend you 100% play with the club that you support. By all means, come in, click your team, and go. We will be setting up with West Ham because that is the team that I support. So you have the options of quick starting, and hitting quick start will bring you through to creating your manager. So it will set the team up. Set the game up, set the leagues up in a way that is best suited for that game, for that team. That is not the best way of doing it. We want you to get the maximum amount out of the game, the maximum amount of players, and the most amount of leagues that you may want. So we will go back and click on the advanced setup. So in here, select your pick team later, hit on advanced setup, and it will load up into the old screen, the more advanced screen, the screen that we all know and love. So this will show you the active leagues that you are going to load up into your save. You have a few advanced options down the bottom here, as well as on the right hand side, this lovely little 5-star graph here. This will tell you the speed at which the games run. Very simply, the more players you have, the more leagues you have, the slower your game will run, depending on your rig's ability. So my PC is fairly decent. It runs lots of other games other than FM, so I can run a fair few leagues and still keep the speed quite high. You have to see what your patience is like. I never drop below more than about 3 stars, depending on the type of game that I am playing. So, first off, what sort of league are you playing? Go into your Add Leagues button. There's Add Remove Leagues down here. This shows you all the leagues that you can load. So, if you are playing an English league, you're going to play as a Premier League side, you may want to select the leagues they have here. England, obviously, because you want to start in England, but you may want to bring through France and Germany, Italy and Spain maybe, if you're looking to maybe jump around towards into your career. So any leagues you select, it will then run those leagues in full in your game, which means all fixtures get played, all players get played, all history of players are kept. So select what you prefer. We have recently started a European Journeyman where we went bananas, selected the whole lot and loaded those in. But for illustration purposes, let's assume we're going to start with West Ham, as we've said. And the leagues that I would pick are the leagues that I may want to pull players from and understand. So you could load in Scotland or Wales as well. Less likely to pull the players from them. So hit the confirm button. That brings those leagues through to your active leagues screen. From here, you can decide the level you're going to go. If you're going to stay in the Premier League, you mainly want Championship and above. You're not really going to pull from any players lower down. You're not really going to jump any lower down in the Premier League. Maybe select yourself at the Championship. Same then, you can do with the other leagues. This will have an impact on how well or how fast your game runs and also the amount of players that are in it. So the more leagues you select, if you check in the right-hand corner, this number will go up the more players, the more leagues you select, therefore the more players you have. And finally, when we selected all leagues down to the lowest level, you'll see that I lost a star on my game speed. That is one way of adding leagues in. You also have the choice of having them playable or viewable only, which means it does load some of the stats for the league, but doesn't load all the players for the league. That'll also speed your game up if you want them on there. You can also add and remove leagues during your save. So don't worry that if you get so far in you can't do anything. You can add leagues in further on into the game. You just won't have all the history of those leagues from the start of your save. Another way to increase the size of your player count and get the most from the game is to change your database size. I have a small database set as standard. I think you can change it up just by selecting small, medium, large. That'll add more players in from the leagues you have selected. You can also hit the advanced tab here. This will enable you on the database side to add certain players in. So say you are running in the Premier League and you wanted to make sure that you were running all, you weren't going to run all the European leagues, but you want to make sure you had a good look at all of Europe. So you could go for Central Europe here and say, load in all the players from the top clubs and top divisions in Europe. That'll take your play count out from 33,000, was it, to 39,000. You may also then say, actually, I kind of fancy just to keep an eye on East would be Brazil, right? The South American East side. So players of the nationality are there, or the players from the top leagues in South America. In case you want to pick up some of those new gens, those tasty little Brazilian new gens, yeah, you can do that from here as well. So you can add players from divisions, players from nations, or players from full regions as another way of increasing the player size within your game setting. At the beginning, you won't notice much of a difference with that. Loading more players in, it will just mean you've got more players to play on. As the game gets further in and the regens start to generate through, the more leagues you run and the more players you have in from the beginning, or the more players you're loading, the slower your game will become. So the size of the file at the beginning and the size of the file towards the end of your save, especially if you're getting 10, 15 years into these saves, will be massively different, and your performance may change there. The next thing to take in mind is the advanced options down here. There's a few that you can tick that we recommend. You've got things like using fake players and staff. No one ticks that. That one replaces everybody with fake names. It doesn't redo the database. So Messi still exists. He's just not called Messi anymore. He's called, I don't know, Frank. Do not use real fixtures. Again, it's just not using the fixtures that are in there. Do not add key staff and add players to playable teams. This you can tick to fill out the rosters of your staff and players for all leagues. So if they don't have anyone, if they don't have key staff in the moment, it will go and put key staff in there, put new gen staff in. Same with players. Mainly useful if you are going to get into using custom databases, lower league databases. You may want to add players to playable teams. So that means all teams have players, but they'll have a load of new gen players. These I tend to leave as standard as they come through. You have disabling the first transfer window activity, meaning no buying when you start the game. Disable player attribute masking. This is an interesting one, controversial one. I leave masking on, so leave it unchecked. That means that you will need to use the scouting features within the game to see the players' full attributes. They're all their 1 to 20s. So if you untick this, you can see every single players that's loaded. You can see all of their attributes, which means the scouting facility kind of becomes defunct in the game. I think, takes a lot out of the game. So ticking it gives you a slightly easier game. You'll be able to see everybody's attributes. You don't really need to worry about scouting so much. Leaving it masked means that you have to use the scouts. You'll only be able to see players based on your knowledge, based on your regions, based on your club size. So it's a bit more of a challenge, leaving it unticked, but one that is worthwhile. You can also prevent control of teams and managers in place. That seems pointless because you want to get a job. And preventing the use of the in-game editor. Just ticking that means, there's no funny business later on. You can't go in and change anything. So we're going to jump in and start with West Ham. You can choose to start in different leagues from the leagues you've started here. We're going to start in England and hit this start game button. Depending on the size of the database, it may take a while to load. So I will see you back once the game has been set up. Once your game has loaded, you will be then brought through to your manager profile screen. Once you have one profile, you'll have it set up here. You have on my Big Herb profile here set up, the one I've been using for my Real Madrid and Arsenal saves set up. But you will want to create a new profile here. Give yourself a name and a surname, nationality, place of birth, your favourite team if you want to as well. Whether you're an experienced or inexperienced player. If you click experienced, then it takes away some of the stuff. The intro screens and the tutorials. I should probably do that really, because I have been playing the game for many years. From here then you can then decide a lot of stuff: male or female manager, heights, weights, put a 3D model of your face in, so your face is in the game. It's a lot better this year than it has been before. There's still not very good beards. The beards are okay. I moan every year, and that's about as good as you get as a full beard. And also within the colour system now, you can click here to use the club's colour. So you can select your jacket, shirt and tie. You can then use, I think on a shirt you can do it as well. So on the shirt you can do it. Oh my God, can you do it on all of them? You can do it on all of them to use the club colour. So when you change jobs, your either shirt or tie or jackets or whatever it is will change depending on the club. You can even do it with your damn shoes. Come in, select your team. We're going to start with West Ham United here. Good thing to notice at the top here, you can start unemployed. Go looking for a job via the job centre if you want, if you're doing a journeyman type save. You can start as both a club and international manager, or start with a single team. I'm going to start with West Ham because that's what we're doing here. And make sure you have a look when you're deciding at how the clubs, what the clubs look like. You can have learn a little bit about the clubs before you select them within this screen. You can change, we've selected to start in the English league, so it will load up this league. You can drop from the top down, pick the different teams and have a look at those as well. Also, don't miss the bit at the bottom here, the club culture, new for FM20. This will be a hint at what you're going to be judged on as a player. So as West Ham manager, they're going to want me to play attacking football, not to sign players over the age of 30, develop players using the club's youth system, sign players under the age of 22 for the future, which means into the under 21 squad rather than into the first team, and sign high reputation players. It gives you an idea of, okay, what's going to be expected of you as manager. These you can edit over time. But it's something that when you're going in for the first time, don't be alarmed. Then if, say, you come in as Sheffield United, you know you're going to struggle, you're predicted for 20th, they want to play possession football, make the most of set pieces, you might decide that you want to play a bit of Route 1, a bit of Sam Allardyce football to try and get yourself some results. That will go against that club culture and you may get marked down for it as a manager. So if you move on to the managerial style next, this is important. I always would recommend clicking these buttons here. Suggested experience based on the team you're managing. So it puts you at the right level of playing experience, the right level of coaching badge, which means you'll have enough attributes to be a good manager in that league for that team. You can select whatever you want. Selecting lowest down gives you less points to attribute to your manager. I always recommend clicking. And then it's kind of free for what you want to play. Depending on the save you're going to do, will depend on where you want to put these attributes. You can put more into the tactical, make you more of a better coach. Or you can put it more into the mental, making you a better manager. So you can kind of play around with these. Obviously, you'll bring coaches in to do stuff. Very good if you set yourself with some of these. Maybe you don't need to worry about goalkeeping if you're not worried about being a goalkeeping coach. Tactical is always good, working with youngsters. It depends on the type of manager you want to be. Mental attributes will become more important around player knowledge and youngster knowledge. That means you'll be able to see more attributes, especially if masking on in-game. So the more you have knowledge, the better. And if you're going to go between countries, adaptability is very, very useful. Your ability to change to different cultures. So if you are an English manager and you decide you're going to do a European journeyman, you want your adaptability as high as possible to help you with those transitions into new clubs and getting your feet under the table there. So once you've set your attributes, move on to confirm, and you will start playing the game. You can add another manager if you want. If you've got two at a computer, like the good old days. Otherwise, hit that start playing button and get into your first Football Manager save. And there we go, West Ham hire Herb. You are now into your first game of Football Manager, and we will be bringing in the first few days and stuff to get on with as part of being a Football Manager, as part of the next video. So this video was specifically setting your game, getting it ready, making sure your computer doesn't keel over. Now you're ready to take the next step. So click on the playlist that is tagged above if you want to carry on with the series and learn what you should be doing, or hints of what you should be doing in your first days, as well as how you judge players. We've got some tactical setup guides coming as well, and some of the new features in this year's game that you may or may not know about. But if you have enjoyed, please do smash that like button. Subscribe if you are new to the channel. Go and check out the Let's Plays. We've got Liverpool, not Liverpool. We've got Arsenal and Real Madrid saves on the go at the moment. And I hope you enjoy your saves as a Football Manager. I will see you next time. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.